tubers. This is Kurt with Edibles and Exotics coming to you from sunny Mesa, Arizona. Today is December 26th, the day after Christmas. And I know the audio quality of my last video sucked, so I got right there, I got a microphone. I got the highway right behind me, the US 60, so I get a lot of highway noise. So I apologize for the crappy audio in the last videos, but I got a request to do just a video on the plants in the yard, and so I'm gonna take you around. It's winter time, so everything's not looking as good as it should. In the summer everything's gonna leaf out and look great. So let's get started. This is the front yard we're in right now, and just to let you know, my yard is not very big. It's a twelfth of an acre, so the lot size is 50 feet wide and about 100 feet long, with 1,600 square foot house, 2-car garage. So it's kind of is what it is. I make do with what I got. So let's get started. So as you can see here, we got the famous fig tree from the last two videos that was trimmed up. It's not doing anything quite yet, but it's there. It's going to come back. It's going to be great. So behind us, let's turn it back here. We have a Red Rider passion fruit vine. This was planted last year, and I planted it on this queen palm, and unfortunately the queen palm died last summer, so it's dead. I'm waiting for it to dry out, and I'm going to chop this guy down, cut him in half, and use him for borders in the backyard. And I'm probably going to move this passion fruit over to this moringa tree here. So this moringa tree, this was planted about a year and a half ago from a seed, and it's probably I don't know, 12, 15 feet tall right now. It's got seed pods on it, as you can see here. Love the seed pods. They're great for cooking. I usually get so many because I got 3 trees growing on the property that I save the seeds and I grow them. And usually when people buy plants from me, I'll give them a free moringa tree. People sell them for 10 to 100 bucks on the internet. And for me, it's just sharing, sharing plants. It's a good feeling. People are happy. Everyone wants moringa. It's a great tree to eat the leaves, eat the pods, really healthy for you. So, if I can make people healthy and happy, that's makes me feel good, and I like doing it. So here's another one we got here. This guy, let's try to zoom out here. This guy here is a mango tree. I grew this from seed. It's about 3 years old. It was planted in the ground about 2 years ago. It's multi-trunked. Got a couple trunks on there, a couple of growth tips going, and it's doing good. They just they like a lot of water, and I noticed with these in particular, they like manganese, magnesium, chelated iron, and they love heavily mulched. I compost in place out here. Like for instance, there's a corn cob right there. Hopefully he could see that. And yeah, I just pull aside the wood chips and dump some kitchen scraps in here and bury them back over, and let the soil go to work on it. We got about, I don't know how much mulch is left here. Let's dig down and see. It's breaking down pretty good. There's roots in there. You can see there's all sorts of roots from one of these trees in here. Can't even get to the bottom. It's so thick, but it's probably about 6 inches left. I put about a foot and a half of wood chips here last spring, and they've cooked down quite a bit. And here you can see we got some baby Mexican fan palms coming up. I got a big one I planted in the front yard from seed, and the seeds go everywhere. I pull these guys out of the ground and pot them up and grow them for about a year, and then sell them. I try to get anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks depending on the size. All right, moving on. We have, let's see, up against the house here, we got some elephant's food, and these guys, they're edible. Called elephant's food, elephant's bush. So you can pick these little leaves off, and you could eat them. Let's see. There we go. They got kind of a lemony taste. I don't know how many you'd want to eat. You eat too many, you might get the soupy poopies. I'm not sure, but it's up to you. Do your research before you start shoving stuff in your mouth, you know. Let's see, we got right here. It's a grapevine. I think it's a summer royal grape. This was planted last year. It's obviously lost all its leaves. Looks like it's kind of dead, but it'll come back in the springtime. It'll do good. Behind it, we got this little guy here. This is well, I bought this off of eBay from a seller. It's supposedly a white Persian mulberry, and it's tiny right now. It's got a couple of leaves, but you know, it's gonna leaf out and probably be as tall as this moringa tree that I just showed you by the end of next summer. It's gonna be massive. You know, I'll probably have a 6-inch to 8-inch diameter trunk at the base, multi-branched, and it's gonna be really, really good. So I'm hoping it's what it was labeled as. You know, a lot of eBay sellers, you know, they either bend the truth, or you know, sometimes they think they got something and they just don't have that. They have something else. You know, here's another mango that I grew from seed. So this guy, he wound up getting a fungus on him when he was real young, and it killed back most of the growth. And I cleaned it all off, and it's growing now. So it's a multi trunk. I'm not sure which one's which, but one of them is an Indian variety, another one's a Mexican variety. So when it fruits, we'll figure it out. This guy here is a pineapple guava that I grew from seed. This is this was started last spring, so spring of 2022, and I got them in the grow bag. And like I said in my other videos, these guys are great. These grow bags, you could grow a seed in there, and you could just plop it right in the ground, and the roots will grow right through the bag. You don't have to disturb it. You get no transplant shock or anything like that. So he's gonna get big. Hopefully, by the end of next summer, you know, be as tall as me, and maybe in another couple of years we'll get some fruit off it. This one here, this is a date palm. I grew this from seed. I got some medjool dates from Sprouts, and sprouted a whole bunch of seeds, and I planted this one. Geez, I'm going to say probably about 7-8 years ago, and it's pretty big. You know, I would say it's probably in the neighborhood of 18 feet tall. Got multiple suckers coming off the base. I always have to trim these off. I just whack them off with the Sawzall, and we get dates on this thing usually right around October, November, December, and sugar sweet. They're great. You just gotta put nets around them because you're always fighting with the birds. They always want to eat them. Let's see, over here we got a pineapple plant. This was grown from a store-bought top. You know, I bought the pineapple, we ate the pineapple, twisted the top off, and grew the top, planted it out here. A little yellow. I think it's just due to the fact that it's winter time. In the summer, it seems to green up and want to grow. But they grow great here. They're kind of like an agave. Over here, we have a Santa Rosa plum. Let me see if I can get a better view of this one. It lost its leaves, you know, for the winter. But hopefully, you know, this spring we'll get some flowers and some fruit on it. Over here, we got a cherimoya. This one here was grown from seed. I go to the Asian market, the Mekong market in Mesa, and I pick up cherimoya and grow the seeds. This one here, every year it seems to have an issue, whether it's aphids or bud rot or something. Summer kind of cooks it a little bit. Winter freezes it a little bit, but it's still growing, you know. For a free plant that you grew from seeds, kind of cool just to watch it grow. You know, maybe in a couple of years it'll start to really take off and bush itself out. But as you can see, I painted the trunk just to try to keep some of the sun from really cooking it. And I do that every year. You know, looks kind of goofy being painted white, but you know, what are you gonna do? All right, over here, around all the Christmas decorations. Happy holidays. This guy here is a weeping mulberry. All right, Morris alba pendula. and I built the soil up around here. I built this little mound. We got some cow poop in there and composted cow poop. A bunch of wood chips, again, composted in place. And as you can see here, I've trimmed off quite a few branches on this stem here because it was really bushy at the base and it had this pencil thing sticking out of the top, weeping, and it looked kind of goofy. So I air layered those, and I got a couple of those growing. Hopefully, they'll have them for sale this coming spring or summer. But it's pretty tall, probably about 7 feet tall, with a single branch hanging down. But each one of these buds here, these guys will turn into leaves and branches. So it should be a pretty bushy plant, uh, probably midsummer. And this is a female, so we get fruit off of it. Next plant we got here, this is kind of an exotic. This is a dragon's blood plant. This was purchased from Lowe's. It was rescued, Dracana Draco. And unfortunately, it's planted right on top of my sewer line going out to the street, so it's probably gonna have to be moved. But still pretty cool plant, you know. I've moved it around like 3 times already, but it does good here. You know, mulched, give it some water in the summer, maybe once a month in the winter, and it just grows. Over here we have, next to the Jeep here, walk around this big palm tree here. This guy here is an apple cactus, Peruvian apple cactus, night blooming cereus. So I do cuttings off of this, and I usually sell arms. I'll root them out. They're great, great. You know, the fruit's awesome. It's kind of like a dragon fruit, but a lot more sweeter. And those, no, that's not a fruit. That's a Christmas ornament. So yeah, these guys grow great here. They're more of a tropical cactus, so they like a lot of water in the summer. They won't really do much until you water them, and then all of a sudden they just explode with growth. All right, let's go over here. All right. So over here we have a Barbados cherry behind this Christmas star here. He was planted about probably 9 months ago, and it was doing great, and I wound up overwatering it, and it died back quite a bit. It was probably twice as big as this. And right now it's about 1.5 feet tall. It was probably about almost 2.5 feet tall. So don't overwater these guys. They do not like water. But it's a acerola cherry, so this is what they traditionally made vitamin C out of. Really high in vitamin C. If you don't pick them at the right time of the year, they taste like a tomato. But when they're nice blood red, they taste great. This guy here, with all the Christmas lights on him, heavily mulched again, is a Yucca elephantites, elephant's foot. This guy should get really, really big and probably outlive me in the process, but it's got suckers coming out and out of the base. That's another one that was rescued from Lowe's. I love rescuing plants from Lowe's. I feel bad for them. Over here we got a gigantic Mexican lime or key lime. Gets little limes on it. I think they're a little past. They're starting to turn yellow, but when they're yellow, they're not good. They're kind of just past their ripeness. But you know, there might be some green ones in here. But these guys, they fruit all year round. They're great. So over here, I got a graft that I did right here, right there. There you go. That's a V graft. And this is a lemon, a Mayer lemon that I grafted onto it from my neighbor's house. Took a snippet off of her tree and grafted it right on, and it's growing great. So I got another branch over here. I got to clean off all these suckers. But this branch right here, I'm going to probably graft on an orange or something along those lines. And try to get a multi-fruiting tree. So let's go into the backyard.